engineering, a lot of different words. But on a nutshell, or I would say on the granularity, it is nothing but asking right questions in a right manner. That's what a prompting is or instruction is, right? So there is a lot of techniques out there, which is giving us a blueprint that how should we ask the right set of question. And there are hundreds of techniques, right? Chain of thoughts, tree of thoughts, self-refined, style prompting, markdown prompting. All of these are we have in outside in the market. And with the interest of time, I'll give you one prompting technique that works best for, I would say, 95% of our use cases, right? Because I can take around 3 hours totally into prompting, right? So one technique I'll give you which works on 95% of the task, and for rest of the techniques I'll give you one link, right? One web link which is very good at uh, learning about these techniques if you want to. But 95% of your task will be solved by just one technique, which is known as magic prompt formula, right? So I'll show you again with an example so that you can correlate better. Right. So let's say our task is to write an email and send it to our 10K subscribers, right? I'll come again to this screen only. And let's say I type in, can you draft me an email to invite my 10K subscribers to Gen AI workshop, right? If I input this, I'll get my response back, right? It is the nature of these models, of these large language models, that they always give you the response. But could you help me in getting the score for this input? How would you score this prompt or input from 1 to 10? 10 is the best and 1 is the worst, right? 1 is the bad. So can you give me a quick score of this particular input which I have just entered? Right? It has given me the full email. I can just use this email. It has given me the full response with the email body, with some call, date, time, all of that I have got. I can still use this. But can you give me the kind of input I have given and the kind of output I have got? Is it really great, right? If it is the best, you can rate it 10, right? Or the worst, it is 1. So what would you rate out of 10 particular this response? A quick score if I can get in the chat. Is chat is enabled? Okay, perfect. Right. So I can see 10, 4, 2. Perfect, right? 6, 3, and okay, perfect, right? So all the people who are giving the high scores, right? This is the example of bad prompt, right? You shouldn't be giving. If you ask me, I would have given max 1 or 2. The reason is I have not given anything in my prompt, right? This has no context. Still, ChatGPT or any other AI tool will give me a response, right? That's the nature of these models that they will never counter back to us. They will never ask us the relevant questions. Okay, you are, unless and until I ask in my prompt to ask a question, they will not do, right? Ideally, my prompt is bad. Why? Because I have not mentioned anything, right? Who is this workshop for? Right? Is it for technical people? Is it for marketing? Is it for HR? Is it for product managers? Nothing, right? And we will be taking a Gen AI workshop, right? What we will be covering in Gen AI workshop? No topics, nothing, right? Gen AI is so vast right now, you all know, right? It has to do with all my text, images, and videos. What we are teaching, nothing, right? So it has still given me a response, but this is the example of a bad prompt, right? Now I'll give you, I mean, I'll show you one more, which is the prompt that I already have, right? This one. And you see the output, and then we will go through my input prompt, right? What is exactly happening? So let's read, and then I'll push a click on the send button. Right. So same task I am giving, write an email to 10K subscriber to invite them to my 2 AI mastermind class by Outscale. Then I have something called you are an experienced email copywriter who has written for the brands like Ogilvy, right? What is the significance of this line? Why we want or why we should give role or persona to my input? And that is, if you ask me, right, one key takeaway. Let's say the entire mastermind, you'll learn a lot of things that I'll be telling you today, right? But one key takeaway would be always start your prompt with the role, right? One very important key takeaway. Why? Because you are narrow down that information for the model, right? Model has learned everything that is present on the internet, right? It has seen all the data, all the articles. Now you are only focusing on email copywriting part, and you are bringing that concrete knowledge into your context while asking or defining this, right? Then you can have a context dump, right? This is my context dump, where you should add everything. Who is this workshop for? Who I'm targeting? Is it for marketing, tech, design? All the context, right? Entire context should be there. And finally you can have a format, or like you want a data review, anything, right? I want a bullet points, I want a paragraph, anything you can do. And now it will also give you a perfectly defined structure for your mail, right? Why you should join, you should have a call to action, everything will be there inside this, along with date and time, right? Along with your some action, some kind of a CTA that you need to participate early, seats are filling, all that stuff will already be taken care by just this one prompt formula, right? So now every time, I think I should go slideshow mode, right? Every time you have your any task to be done, have this four checklist in your prompt. That I should start with role, right? I think role is missing here. You should have the context, role, task, instructions, how you want to have, and data is optional. I mean, if you want to have or not, don't want to have, but these parts should be there in your prompt, right? So that you are getting the best response, and AI has all the context, because AI will never ask you a counter questions, right? And as I told you, I'll be giving you one link, right? So this web link, you can have it with yourself bookmarked in your browser, the promptguide.ai. It has all the basic chain of thoughts, tree of thoughts, along with the paper, by the way, right? I have myself published one paper. I think it will be very coming soon in by the next week, right? It's already got accepted. It's in a publication right now. So we experimented with these one of these techniques, made it on the use case of anomaly detection, and that's how all the researchers are also doing, right? Because under the hood, it's an English. Under the hood, it's not a language; it's an English. People are changing, us tweaking a bit how they are actually writing an instruction, and they are seeing a phenomenal response, right? So tree of thoughts, again coming from the Google DeepMind, right? You don't have to read. I'm just sharing you for your references, right? That these techniques is not something coming from, let's say, random people, like they have been using and they're publishing. No, these techniques are backed by all my research, and that's how they are very powerful when it comes to prompting, right? So I'll share you this uh, in the chat so that everyone can bookmark and have this to refer it. Perfect, right? So now we are done with one of those techniques, how my prompt, or what is the language of AI. We understood the AI. And now again, we have a third problem, right? Along the sequence. Now, if you think of, we are peeling off the layers, right? The third problem is I have a lot of models, right? Now you know a high level instruction that how to give. I understood that there is a structured way of writing a good set of prompt that should have a task, context, role, format, all of that thing. But again, which model to use where, right? This is an again third question to our sequence, that I have a lot of models. Should I use the same prompt on each and every model, or how should I decide first of all which model to choose from, right? We have all these companies, right? OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Microsoft, Meta, and these are their AI assistant. And we have a lot of models inside that, right? I mean, recently ChatGPT has taken off all its past models and given only the one GPT-5, and they are, I mean, a lot of people pushed back on that, right? Why you have done this? I want my GPT-4o back, I want this model back, right? So they tried something new, that okay, let me not confuse the user and give me only one model which is deciding, but that backfired them. If you are actually following the AI news, right, it actually backfired them, and a lot of people complained, tweeted that I want our previous GPT-4o model back. Reason is, they, I mean, the people who are already using from last 2 to 3 years, they know when to use 4o model and when to use the reasoning model. They have already gotten this understanding via practice or via learning, right? And now GPT-5 takes care itself, that whether it's a, let's say, required for a reasoning task or non-reasoning task. So people are not happy if you're just Following the news, people are not happy with the GPT-5, right? Even I have personally felt that if I have two, three options, I am better off using the model. But anyways, right? Still, we have lot of models. I have these companies which are giving me reasoning models, right? So would you like to take a guess first before me going into how to deal with these models? How many models are there, which is only text, right? Only large language model I'm talking about, no images, no videos. Would you like to take a guess how many models are there right now present in present? Okay, 20,500 plus 20K, man. No, we don't have 20K models. 1K, 300, 200, 1000K. Okay. So I would say people who are guessing between 400 to 500 are on a right? Or let's say near to 500 if you are guessing are actually correct. And the people who are saying 1000, 20,000, right? That is not possible. I'm not talking about AI tools. I'm not talking about AI tools. I'm talking about large language models, right? There is a difference. So just think it off. AI tools can be 30, 40,000. I agree. But LLMs cannot be 30, 40,000. Reason is they are expensive to train, right? What do you need? What is the food? Now ask this question. What is the food to get your own LLM? Can you and I train my own large language model? Right? The answer is no. We cannot. The food of these model is the data. Do I have GBs of data? Still, I will spend my time, I can get the data, but do I have an infrastructure to train these models, which is the series of GPUs, right? I need thousands of GPUs to get or train these models and billion of dollar. Do I have all these three things? No. So you and I cannot train these models, right? And if you ask ChatGPT itself took $1 billion to get trained, right? And plenty of data and 6 months of continuous training. 6 months of non-stop training means the model was running while training for 6 months. The GPUs were running for 6 months, right? So it is a very expensive task, right? That's the reason. So we have 480 plus, and that was the last week, right? What I generally do is in these sessions, I go and check it live so that we have a real time count and I keep on updating these models. Okay, I think yeah, I got to new link, but right. So for that, I am using Open Router. So this is one of the website Open Router where you can get all the models listed. So I'll filter it on text, only text models, and you can see there are 485 models which are there completely. I mean, maybe something is missing, but it is near to 485 only if you search on Hugging Face or anywhere. It comprises both open source and closed source. When I say open source, that means free models, right? If I type free, you will get all the free models. Like DeepSeek is free, right? Coin is free. All these are free models. I mean, people don't know about Microsoft free model. I mean, I don't know if any one of you know Microsoft free model, but there are free models which are very good. Microsoft 5.4 is completely available for free, right? You can download and use it for your application, right? So all these models are there which are 485, and you can try different models on this website, right? Just sharing you uh, one more insight, right? Let's say I want to compare DeepSeek versus let's say 5.4, right? I want to have a comparison to choose between these two. I can do that, right? You just ask anything, what is A/B testing, and it will get me a response from both the models, right? So now your task is to check or compare the response, which one is giving you better, right? But how you filter the top five models, you can go to ranking section, right? I'm just sharing you just to give you an analogy that how people are selecting, right? Because I cannot test 485 models, that I cannot do, but I can still go to ranking and see which are the top performer in the open source, free source. I can get the top five and try to experiment my own, right? That's the one way you can do. Perfect, right? So now we have 480 plus counting. I think that's the perfect statement. So we have 485 models as of now. I'll not change this slide. Now again we are on the same question, how to choose or how should I be knowing that when to choose which model, when I should use the reasoning model versus non-reasoning model, right? So that's the category that we are making or dividing these two models into, right? So you just imagine that I have two types of model in this entire space. One is reasoning and one is non-reasoning. That becomes an easy for understand, right? This is my reasoning model, and now you can see the list of reasoning models. Right now on OpenAI, it is not visible, right? That's what I'm saying. It has now they are enabling that option, right? I think for some people it's already enabled that you can see different choosing model, different models. I can maybe test whether it is coming on my screen or not. uh, Auto legacy models, yeah, GPT-4o is live, by the way, right? Lot of people instructed, can you give me this? But other models, right, O4, O3 are not there, but I have a thinking model as my different category, right? So by default it is choosing a thinking auto means it will select automatically based on my query, right? But I have a legacy model GPT-4o because lot of people tweeted to Sam Altman that I want my 4o model back right? So they have to. Okay, so now they have, I mean, these are all my reasoning models. DeepSeek, Google has Gemini 2.0, Flash, Grok is having all these reasoning models, Anthropic has, all the companies have. Now, again, the question, which task should be delegated to my reasoning models versus I should use non-reasoning model, right? So that's what we'll be learning. I'll do a practical use case for that. And if you guys don't know about DeepSeek, right? DeepSeek is really, really a great reasoning model. I'll demonstrate you one of the query on this DeepSeek only. The reason is it is free and it was the first model who came up with this kind of a architecture, right? Reasoning one. GPROs, I mean, some algorithms are there that I'll not go into tech stuff. But if you're following the news, it shook the entire Silicon Valley when the news was out, right? Because it is cheaper, open source, all of that, and all, I mean, all the tech giants bleeded when this news came out, right? So let's play with one and understand which tasks are suited for my reasoning models. Perfect, right? So I'll come here uh, and I'll use, let me use the normal one and see ideally it is taking by default thinking or I have to enable it, right? This will be a test also. So by default I can use thinking. I can click here on thinking and the model will go into a thinking stage. And ideally it's a thinking task. I mean, reasoning and thinking are the same things, right? But let me choose the auto only so that I should also be knowing whether ChatGPT is doing a great job or not, right? And then I will show you the same response in the DeepSeek. But let's understand the question here first, right? So this is my input. I have 10,000 rupees to invest along with laptop and internet access for 30 days, right? So this is my constraint that I have only 10K, a laptop and internet and only 30 days with me. I want to start a home based business that operates entirely online without requiring me to step outside. Second constraint that I have introduced into my prompt. Please provide me with three business ideas, each with the detailed plan on how to grow my investment from 10K to 100K, right? 1 lakh within 30 days. Again, one more constraint, right? So now you imagine how I want only top three ideas, but let's say as a human, right? As a human, I was getting one idea in my mind, which was starting a YouTube channel, right? Starting a YouTube channel because that is all abiding to my constraint, right? I can start with 10,000 investment, right? Few equipments, let's say camera, tripod, 30 days. I mean, I can start from internet sitting at home, but would I be able to scale from 10,000, right, to 1 lakh, right? I mean, YouTube will not give you that quick money within 30 days, right? So that's how I want my model to think through all the possible options and then come up with the solution. So this is where my reasoning task fits in, right? So let's complete the prompt, right? So now I have 4 5 constraint already introduced. I have many more, right? The business should not be service based, right? So if you have, let's say, 10 of ideas, it is all gone. Since I have no coding skills, it should be achievable without writing a code. Again, many ideas are gone now because I do not want to do that. Last line, additionally, the plan should not rely on running ads. I have no experience in ad management. Once again, I have introduced one more constraint, and that is really powerful prompt, right? It has lot many constraint, and I think model has not gone into a thinking stage, right? Because I cannot see what it has thought, and ChatGPT has not done an optimal job here, right? I mean, it has used the legacy model, not the thinking one, and it has given me the response, right? So this response might be true, I mean, might be abiding to all my constraints, but I'm not 100% sure in this case, right? Because model has not thought upon getting these validated and then gave me the response. Whereas if you go into DeepSeek, right, any model which has a thinking capability, I'll show you here, it will go into a thinking stage, right? And that's what I love about DeepSeek, right? It does a really good job when it comes to thinking, right? So it is not giving me the response, it is reiterating in its own knowledge, or you can say talking to itself, right? And this is same we humans also do, right? Just think your pattern. If I have to do any critical thinking, right, generally if I am telling you about myself, if I'm solving any problem which requires some kind of a thinking, critical thinking, that I we have multiple solution, what is the best or optimal way, I generally go and sit and write it down on paper. That's how I do, right? I mean, some people use digital laptop or Word, notes, pad, and all, but I prefer a pen and paper. That gives me a more, you can say, space to think, right? That's how I am, right? Same way model is also doing, right? We are looking at non-service based online business which has a capability to scale from 10,000 to 1 lakh within 30 days. Important, achieving 10x in 30 days is extremely ambitious and involve high risk, right? Model is itself giving you a warning that this is a very high ask, that you want to achieve 10x within 30 days. Idea 1, this is the plan. Idea 2, right? So model will think through. Right now also it is in a thinking state only, right? So just to conclude, if you have any task which has multiple different options to be choose from, where the model can think through all the possible directions, use thinking model, use reasoning models, right, for that task. But if you have normal summarization task, you have a normal, let's say, email drafting, right? We all use for drafting an email, for summarizing something, then you don't need it, right? I mean, reasoning model still not required for those tasks. Email, right? I just want an email reply, I can use the non-reasoning model. It will save my time as well as cost, right? Cost also, because this is associated with my cost at the back end also, right? I mean, this is free to use for us, but when you are building your application, then you have a cost associated for the API. Right. So I think it has brainstormed and finally it has given us the business idea 1, business idea 2, digital templates and printable store. And finally, I have a third idea also once it is done, right? So top 3 ideas out of, let's say, 20, 30 ideas which it has evaluated. Now I am getting as my top 3 inputs: affiliate marketing blog, right? How to scale from 10K, step by step plan, all of that it is giving because I've asked for it. And it was in a thinking state for 92 seconds, right? Almost, I would say 2 minutes, almost. But yeah, it was in a thinking state for 92 seconds. Great, right? So now we all know. Can I get a quick check uh, on the chat that you understood the language, the prompt, all of these 3 things? You understood how or which tasks are well suited for my reasoning models. Perfect. Great. Right. So now we are on the third phase, or I would say fourth phase, where we are exploring the capabilities of these models that are not only restricted with text, right? They're not only restricted with text. I can generate images and videos too with these legacy chat kind of models, right? I mean, chat GPT, you can generate image on Gemini also. You can generate images on Grok also. I'll show you a few examples right now. And the positioning of these models is, right, that I wanted something really quick, right? So there are 2 ways. That's what I'm explaining you, because you have a dedicated session on video and image generation that requires a lot of thinking, right? So let's say, example, I'll give you example only. Let's say I am running an ad agency where I want to brainstorm an idea for a brand, that how can I make their ad, which is AI generated, that can be ran on internet, right? That they can run on YouTube, internet, wherever, on Instagram. So that requires a lot of thinking, right? What will be the scene 1? What will be the scene 2? Then I have a dedicated tools which are best for video generation, right? Like Kling AI, I have Hydra AI, Kriya AI, lot of tools. right? VO3, the best model is VO3, you can imagine, but still it is not available completely in India. You have some restrictions. I can only produce 3 videos in my pro plan and so on, right? So there are some restrictions, but still I will use these models for brainstorming and getting my layout structure done. And you have a dedicated session on this video and images in your mastermind, right? So you will learn there. I have already learned, I have already explored. So these are the best tools. But the positioning here is, right, we are learning about large language model, we are learning about AI. So if you want a quick, right, let's say my manager came to me and said that, hey, Divij, we are organizing the hackathon. Can you give me a quick poster or the video, right? We want to send it across. And since I am in one of the hack advisor committee, right? So this task generally comes to me. That's why I'm correlating it with. So I have won, I mean, 2, 3 hackathons already. So it comes to me that let's have a poster and send it across. How will I go about it, right? The old method is you hire a graphic designer, or if you know some tools like Canva and all, I can go. Right now, Canva also has the AI, by the way, right? Canva, it introduced the AI part. So that's the, I would say, the upgradation that they have done, right? But older way, when there was no AI, you can imagine I have to go to these tools or I have to hire someone to make this happen. But right now, we can use the same model, right? GPT-4o for designing these images and poster and videos, right? Videos we have from the OpenAI itself, we have this Sora, right? So let's see how I will be executing this task. And let me go and choose the legacy model and think if we have the images, right? Because GPT-4o was really great at creating images, right? So what I have done, I have selected the 4o model and it will be there in your free plan also. It's a free model. So if you're using the free plan of ChatGPT, the 4o model is still there. And I have selected create image, and now I want, right, the positioning is I want it really quick within 5 minutes, or I would say less than that. I am speaking, that's where I'm taking time, but if actually I was given this a task, I would have done under 2 minutes, right? So I would say design a hackathon poster, right? Design a hackathon poster, which is hackathon poster which should have theme, right? I'll just describe the theme, which should have futuristic sci-fi theme. Below are the details I want on poster. Right now, I want the details, uh, which is, let's say, event name, let's say hack 2.0. I need date, right? Date when it is happening. So let's say we are saying 20th August, and right venue. So let's say we are organizing this in, let's say Redison, wherever, right? Redison Hotel. I'm just taking, right? I'm just picking up the example, right? Redison Hotel, tagline. I'm introducing as much text because I wanted to see whether it can handle. Because I'll tell you, right? Like the positioning of Chat GPT image generation is it can handle lot of text on your image, right? While there is no other model that can handle the text, but I'm testing it out once they have re-released this model. So let's see whether it is taking care of all our spelling mistakes and having a correct positioning on that. Right. So tagline: hack the future, right? Let's say I've given this, done, right? So within 2 minutes, or I would say under 5 minutes, to be very optimistic, I can create my poster which can be sent across, right? And now, why I'm meanwhile it is preparing our image, I'll show you exactly GPT-4o image generation. If you have not went through, right, it was the official blog from the OpenAI. I went through, I mean, long back, right, Marcia. So I went through this blog when a lot of Ghibli arts was famous, and the positioning of this model is it can handle large piece of text onto the image, right? No other model, you try Grok or any other model, they will make a mistake, right? They will not have a correct spellings, right? So they, this is the prompt that they have given, that someone is writing on a whiteboard with the OpenAI logo, Bay Bridge on the backside, and this is the text what they want on the image, right? So this really surprised me when I read that back in March, right? So you have all the text, pros and cons, and this is what the output looks like, right? All my text is placed onto the image, and everything is correct, right? No spelling mistakes in this image. So that's how the 4.0 generation, when it came, it became very popular. And for this task, if you ask me, I would prefer this only, right? If you think other model can do a justice for us, the answer is no, right? I'll show you practically only, right? So let me create image on Grok, right? So Grok is another model I have introduced. So far we now have seen ChatGPT, we have seen DeepSeek, and this is the third tool, Grok, right? I'll just give the same instruction, nothing I'm changing, and you will see that it will not be able to handle this much text, right? But there are other advantages of Grok, which I'll tell you later. But yeah, let's see the output, right? Everything is correct, right? Hack 2.0, hack the future, very minimalistic sci-fi poster which I can send across without hiring me any graphic designer, which is the power of AI, right? Again, second model, hack 2.0, hack the future, 20th August, perfect, Radisson Hotel. Yes. And the theme is also looking as a hackathon, right? So quickly, right? Within, I would say, 2 minutes, I have got my poster out from these models. And now I'll show you how to get an intro video as well, right? Because both we need to send. I want to create a creative so that people can participate, right? I want to make them interest in that event. So I will generate a video also, but let's see if Grok has done. Uh, okay, surprisingly nice. I think it is showing me the correct. Oops. 20th August, Radisson Hotel. Hotel, I think it has messed it up, hacked the future. Still, I mean, it is coming on the middle. The hack 2.0 is slightly deviated, right? The font is slightly deviated, but the first one is still fine. But yeah, aesthetics wise, it doesn't look good if I compare this with my this output, right? You can clearly see that it is much more futuristic and perfectly aligned to my input, right? I can use, by the way, both images, both are perfectly aligned and ready to use. Okay, perfect, right? So now we are done with the image one. That's where we have, and there are a lot of other tools. Grok, I already showed you free alternatives. Grok is absolutely free. Leonardo.ai, right? This is also one. And I told you one more advantage of Grok is where you should use Grok when you have a privacy concern, right? I mean, use ethically these models to generate image. But let's say, right, I want to draw an image, right? I'll show you a practical example that no other tool can do that. Draw image of Narendra Modi fighting with Donald Trump, right? Trump inside a cage on US tariffs, right? There is a lot of US tariffs going on, right? If you are following the news, right? A lot of tariff war are going on. So I'm writing, right? The purpose here is I'm writing something on that context on my blog or on my website or on my LinkedIn. I want a quirky poster for that. There is something versus, right? Fighting with Donald Trump inside a cage fight on US tariffs imposed on India, right? Something like that. So I'm writing my article, I want a very good poster. This is what Grok can do, no other tool will do, because of privacy concern they cannot impersonate someone, their personality, right? If you go to Chat GPT, Gemini, they will deny your request, that is against my rules, or that part, right? That is blocked. But here I can still generate the original images and so on, right? So that's where the best position, and I can use it for ethically, right? If I mean, that's what I always promote: use AI ethically, don't use it for malpractices. And this is an ethical use, right? I want to describe my thoughts and I'm using this image into my blog post, right? Because there is nothing wrong in that image. Perfect, right? So now this is done. Next part is I want to have a quick video generated, and I'll use the Sora for that, which is again from the OpenAI itself. The only challenge is Sora comes with my $20 subscription. It doesn't come with the free plan, right? So I can click on Sora, I can come to this screen, and I have a lot of images and videos section here, right? So you can see a lot of people, what other people are creating, and I can get a lot of great insights out of this also, right? So like this, please like if you think that I'm cute, right? So someone has given this prompt, right? I can see what the prompt has been given, and okay, the person has hided that prompt, but yeah, let me see this one if this is open. Yeah, a raccoon web designer, right? So a very, I mean, three words, and I got this as an output. So I can generate the videos in my Sora model. So I'll just describe uh, a futuristic sci-fi sci-fi themed hackathon setup where people working multiple people, I would rather say, right, where multiple people working in hackathon environment, right, having multiple screens and brainstorming together. Use AI theme as right. Use AI theme, that is fine, right? Use AI theme with some advanced robots, right? Because I want a quick video out of this from for this entire thing, right, to be rolled out, a 10 seconds video and all, so that I can share it, right? I can select the resolution, but let me select 720, which is good. 10 seconds is fine. I can have a max 20, and it will take some time to generate, but yeah, let me give this as an instruction, right? So now it will be added to queue. It will take some time to get it done, right? All of that, and finally I'll come once it is ready, right? So it is in a queued state. uh, Let me come back, but the positioning here is that what I have told is, if I want a very quick images and video, AI again can help me, right? That's where the whole objective is, right? I think I have not talked about that, but now if you think, because we have already done half of the session, right, I mean more than half of the session, if you now can think it of why AI got introduced into our lives, right? The one objective of AI, you'll get the answer that it will help us save time, right? That's the one objective. I'm not going to cost any other factor. Let keep all the other factor as constant, right? Because cost has a very you can say, costing I can calculate by getting a cost of the tool, a lot of human capital comparison, and that's a quite complex stuff. But if I can calculate how much time I can save, that is the definite answer that yes, I can compare that, right? Earlier I used to take 20 minutes, 30 minutes for a poster. Now I can quickly generate. All the tasks that you are doing will help you save time. That's the positioning of AI and increase your productivity. Great, right? So meanwhile, the video is happening. How is it going so far? Because now the next we have is the tool section, and I think Funny, do you want to have a quick check or anything to
Yeah,
share?
yeah.
Well,
No, I think I mean we have spent 2 hours in this session already. I'm loving how this is going, by the way.
right.
Love the responses that are coming in on the chat. Wonderful. Divich, do you want to give a 5 minute break or should we continue?
Yeah, I think we can give a quick 5 minutes break.
Perfect. So, folks, we are almost done with 2 hours of the session. It's important for us to get up from our seats and grab a quick refresher. So what I'll do is I'll quickly put a 5 minute timer on the screen, and you can all feel free to get up from your seats, go grab some water or some coffee, whatever it is that is going to help you get refreshed, and come back in just 5 minutes. And people who are in the call, right after we complete the 5 minutes, we are going to jump into this section where you're going to be learning a lot of AI tools. Now, those of you who are active on LinkedIn, we have actually gone ahead and built an AI tool that can help all of you go ahead and announce on LinkedIn that you're participating in the AI mastermind and spending 16 hours this weekend learning generative AI. Now, only and only if you're active on LinkedIn, you can go ahead and do that during the break, which is if I show this particular tool to all of you, and tomorrow we will be teaching all of you how you can go ahead and build amazing tools like this, right? I will shortly go ahead and share the link of this tool, but it's very simple for all of you to use. If you want to go ahead and put out the word on LinkedIn so that your connections on LinkedIn get to know that you're learning AI, you could open this tool up. It asks you for an image. You click on this, right? You pull up any image from your device of yourself, and I will tell you why it is asking for an image as well. So I go ahead and put in my image. I'm going to go ahead and enter my my name over here, my job role, which is I am an AI strategist at Outskill. And what am I most excited about? Most excited about the fact that we have people in